Okay, welcome to our Sunday crew. Wonderful to see everybody. I'm trying to imagine you, but you're not there. Well, you're there, but not really. And I hear myself. I don't see you, and I hear myself. This is not working out so great. Anyway, great to see you for another live chat, our live chat in the month of April 2021. What a great year it's been so far. I hope you've had a good year too. And here in New York City, things are starting to sprout. It's getting warmer out there. Everybody's feeling nice. So things are looking up. Okay, I know what you came for. A little vocal talk. So we're going to be addressing your questions here like usual. I'm excited for it. And we're going to start off with the Laura Chase, right? Yeah. It's not just any Laura Chase. It's the. Okay, hi Justin. I've made so much progress because of you. Thank you so much for all your tips and videos. You're welcome, Laura. How do I keep the control when performing a song emotionally as well as vocally? My problem is, as long as I'm still and relaxed, I can control my voice just fine. But when I do the acting, I tend to breathe more, which results in too much air pressure and tightening up. How can I act authentically and still keep the control? Well, this is an amazing thing to bring up, Laura. Just perfect. Because you're right. We go into lessons or the practice studio and we're practicing in a certain environment. And then we go to perform and the environment changes. Sometimes our voice changes as well. What I have to suggest to you is practice the environment. Practice the environment as much as possible. One simple way to do it is actually quite technical. You could do, for example, 25 jumping jacks and then start singing your song. That gets you sort of out of breath and the experience of, wow, my body is really fired up. How does my voice respond? And practice that way physically. Then you want to practice actually very emotionally as well. Can you do your song as different characters? And I'm talking weird and wild characters. Can you do it as, a cowboy? Can you do it as somebody who's just won $1 million? Can you do it as somebody who's really down and depressed? Can you do it as somebody who's trying to get vengeance? And practice it in all these unique ways. Then practice it, when you are putting on some lotion. Practice it when you're rolling around on the couch. Practice it when you're watching some TV. Practice it when you're doing some dishes. Put yourself in all kinds of strange environments and situations and characters. And then when you go into your performance mode, you won't have just practiced it in one setting. You've actually simulated these changing environments. So I highly recommend that sort of bizarre practice. And I have known plenty of performers that do just that. So give that a try. Laura. Okay, now we're on to Danny Vincencio. Hey, Danny. Hi, Justin. Hope you're doing well. My question is, what are the causes of bleat vibrato? I know what you're talking about. And how to fix that. Can you give an exercise? Also exercises for balanced onset. Okay, so the bleat vibrato, also known as a tremolo, is the kind of vibrato that does not have the up and down movement, but rather that sort of thing. And Danny says bleat. It's also known as a sort of billy goat kind of vibrato, or like a machine gun sort of sound. Okay, so the idea there, the problem is really with a bit of tension, and the chords are kind of getting this sort of tension versus the movement that we're wanting, the up and down movement of vibrato. So how do we fix the tremolo? How do we fix the bleat vibrato? Well, we can fix it with a wobble, which is to kind of let the voice move up and down more than we normally would. So that's Oh, sorry, Danny. I pronounced this is the third time I've mispronounced your name. I'm sorry, Danny. Vincenzo. But you like it better. Okay, good. I'm sorry. Okay, so Danny, you can go for a name change if you want. But you heard what I said there. Okay, up and down. We got to get it moving one way or another. And it doesn't matter that it's kind of that wobble, because you can speed it up over time. And then we have found our true vibrato and not our tremolo. What about a balanced onset? Well, if you don't know what a balanced onset is, we've got sort of the Three Bears situation. We've got that's a pressed onset too much. Breathy onset too little. Now just right. Right in between. So what you can do there is you got glottal. Oh, too hard. Then H. Breathy. And then we go right in between, something that is neither H nor glottal. And you find that balanced onset. So look, Danny, Vincenzo or Vincencio, look for something in between glottal and H, and there's your balance. Okay, let's go on here to Jake. What's my opinion of Myles Kennedy? I feel like he's the quintessential example of singing rock safely as he's in his 50s, still has a great voice. Seems like a lot of those 80s rock singers lost their voices, but Myles seems to be getting better and better. That's true. In interviews, he says he worked with Ron Anderson, talks about bel canto. He emphasizes breath support, vowel mastery, mask. But what is bel canto? How to master it? Also, can you analyze Myles Kennedy performance clip and tell me what register the high notes he uses? Sounds like a mix, but it also sounds like reinforced falsetto when I do it. Okay. Oh. What do we have here? Is this the clip? Oh, great. This is so convenient. How cool. All right, well, let's do this thing. All right. Let's see what happens. Chest down to mix. Oh, there you got pretty sweet. Let's pause and mute me. There you got pretty sweet. Okay, so those earlier clips there where he was a little bit lower, you got a beautiful chest dominant mix. And then when he's going up there to the top, he's got a reinforced falsetto that also includes a little bit of a mix. So he's got just a little bit of that beef, okay, just a little bit of that mass up there, which is making it sound a little bit beltier than other males that are in their reinforced falsetto. So it's essentially a little bit beltier reinforced falsetto, or we could call it, some people would call it head voice. Some people would call it head dominant mix, but it's not a lot of chest. In the lower region, he's using more chest, but as he goes up there, he's thinning out, lengthening out, but still using a little bit of that presence. Presence from TA, and presence from his adduction muscles as well. And it's just a great balance of compression and breath. So how much did he get from bel canto? I don't know. It's impossible to say. But certainly the breathing aspect of bel canto, he got a lot from. Because a sound like that, he is not overblowing. He's not overpressurizing the instrument. He's using just the right amount very small, but just the right amount to be able to get the pitch and compress the chords like that to create what sounds pretty belty. Notice he's right on the microphone, so it's not loud, but it sounds pretty belty. I mean, yeah, you're right. He's as good as you're going to hear for a rock singer. I know that was fast. I hope that at least cleared up what register he's using. And please let us know if it didn't answer your question. Okay. Now, what do we have next? We've got Rosa. Yes, Rosa. Hey, Rosa. It's you again, Rosa. I want to ask about inspiration makes a difference to the singer. Okay. I tried a rock song once when my friend said that the timbre didn't match my voice. Because I have a soft, dark, thick voice. He said with a timbre like that, it only takes away the soul of the song. He asked me to come up with new arrangements like guitar or piano. So my question is, does timbre affect the inner voice of singing or change the meaning of the song? Well, Rosa, here's the thing. We all do have a God-given timbre to our instrument. And truly, I say it on the show all the time. Nobody sounds like you. Nobody. Not in the history of the universe. They didn't sound like you before. They don't sound like you now. And they never sound like you ever again. There's only one Rosa. And that's it. So your timbre is a one of a kind, truly. I think your friend has some good points because you want to, I think, go with what your timbre naturally gravitates to, because that'll be easy for you because it's already there. Explore the sounds that seem the most natural and do something with those. But here's where we might disagree with the friend. The voice is not only purely unique, but it's the only instrument that you can change in infinite ways. So Rosa, if you are inspired by rock music, let's say, you can adjust your timbre to make sure that we buy it when you're singing rock. We don't say, oh, I wish she was singing something else. We say, no, I buy it. I love it when she sings rock. It might be a little more challenging if it's not natural to you, but I see it all the time. People say, I want to sound like this. I want to achieve this goal, this artist's kind of style, and we can make those changes over time. So both things are true. Embrace your natural sound and explore other sounds that maybe aren't so natural for you, but you're going to get them over time. All right. Let's go to Ella Adamek. Hey, Ella. How do you deal with being too critical? Yep. I have a hard time with my money notes. Did you see the recent episode on money notes? The more I try, the worse my self-esteem. Maybe it's that I'm practicing in the apartment and not in the studio. Well, Ella, what we have to do first is try to pinpoint why are you being critical? What's the source of that criticism? Is it because of something that somebody said to you that you're still owning? Is it because of a recording that you heard back and you didn't like the sound of it? Is it right there in the moment you're producing sounds and you're judging them and saying, oh no, this can't be right? I would encourage you to try to pinpoint the source, because once we know the source, we can better address where these feelings are coming from. But I think probably, Ella, I don't know if you're working with a teacher, but I think you probably will need to get at least a teacher or a trustworthy outside ear. Because as Einstein says, we can't solve a problem with the same mind that created it, right? And so we somehow have to get something outside, an outside mind, an outside ear, an outside perspective. You're going to need, I think, somebody to be there listening to you and helping you accurately say, okay, this is working, this is not working. Celebrate the things that are working, they're awesome. And the things that are not working, let's not get too hard on ourselves. Let's create a strategy and a game plan. I would just hate to have you, Ella, at home in your apartment, singing, 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 and not having any feedback and just judging things and not making a change. So those are my thoughts for you right now. Try to pinpoint the source, and then also find a trustworthy outside feedback that can help pinpoint what's true and what's real and what's not. And then we'll report back on how that goes. Okay. All right. Let's go now to, oh, she says, I find too many things I need to get better at when I listen to myself. Yeah. Same thing. You need to get I think, an instructor here, because you can't be obsessing. If I listen to myself sing, I could find like 1,000. Think of this, Ella. I'm a voice technician. I see every little detail. That's my job. And when I sing about my own voice, I sense every little detail. It's torture. If I wanted to, I could just bust myself up with criticism. But that's not going to help me be free. So even me as a teacher, I have to go to an outside source. I have to go to somebody else to give me that feedback, so that I don't say, let me judge and criticize these 1,000 things, but say, you know what? I'm going to pick 1 or 2 things to focus on. And in the meantime, I'm going to celebrate the other 100 things that are going well. We usually need somebody else to help us with that. I encourage you to do that. Okay, Arabella. Okay. Hi, I've been working with a young female singer, 9 years old. We work a lot on adduction, but she has no chest voice yet, even when speaking. When should I be concerned about a true chest voice? I would be a little concerned right now. 9-year-olds have chest voice. That's very strange. That could be physiological. She may need to check that out with a laryngologist. I know, family of a 9-year-old may not want to take their daughter to get a scope. That can be a procedure, but that's not normal. Okay. 9-year-old would have chest voice. And I assume you've tried making her talk as loudly as possible, use a stage voice, call to her friends, call to, hey, taxi, all of those tricks. I assume you've done that stuff. If that is still coming out, head voice, weak, breathy, there may be something off on the chord level. But yeah, I guess I could only encourage you to do, I wouldn't actually do adduction, because that's not as relevant to chest voice as the beef of chest voice. But what I would have you encourage you to do is loud stage speaking voice, calling to the friends, getting into whatever spoken presence you can find to the voice. That's going to be the source. And if she can talk in chest voice, she can sing in chest voice. But there's often that disconnect where the singer will sing too prettily to actually use their chest voice. When they sing in chest voice, it sounds too ugly to them, and so they default to head because it sounds prettier to the ear. But the question you have to answer, Arabella, is, does she really not have that speaking voice? Can she really not talk in her chest voice, even when shouting out there on the playground? Might even ask the parents, are there any times when she's like, no, I don't want to go to school, that sort of thing. See if she's doing chest voice in a different environment, And maybe it's the voice lesson where she changes things. Just some ideas to explore. Okay. Danny, I'm sorry. Vicencio. Danny Vicencio. Okay. I pronounced it probably 5 wrong ways, and there's the right one. Okay. Try to remember that. Okay. Lean pisters. I got that one because I could say Leanne. Done that before, but it's lean pisters. Hey, lean. I'm now practicing triads on the piano. Just singing the notes. What could be the next step to get more insight in my voice and music making? Oh, well, I think that's great, Lean, to be doing triads. Have you tried singing the triad? Like mum 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 mum. Have you done that? Have you broken up the triad? That would be good. Have you gone beyond the triad into arpeggios? That would be another next step. I wonder if you've explored solfege and really learn, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, and learn to kind of hear do, mi, do, so, do, la, do, fa, do, re, do. Like all of those different intervals, that'll help you big time. And see if you can even play random intervals and learn to hear that. And try to figure out, what is that? Well, that's in this case a ninth. 1 9 1, and see if you can start to learn the solfege, the numbers, and do some of that ear training. And you can create exercises that, get all those different intervals working. I think those could be some next steps for you, both music and voice, blending them together. All right. Oh, Danny, I got it. That's awesome. Okay. Now, Johanna. Hey, Johanna. Hope you're well. This pandemic situation is really starting to get to me, and sadly to my singing as well. With most of the family in the house pretty much all the time, I'm finding it harder than ever to practice. Even though I can go in a separate room, I'm just never really comfortable practicing when there's somebody else at home. Just trying to push away my feeling of discomfort. It seems easy, but it hasn't really worked out very well. So I need to try something different. I've been looking into renting some kind of practice space, but I haven't found any viable options yet. Do you have any advice? I hope so. Well, here in New York City, it's very easy for us. We have these rental studios, and they're not very expensive. Actually, anybody can just go and rent a room. It's like $20 or something like that. You can go in there for an hour and sing or do whatever you want. So I don't know, Joanna, where you're located, but hopefully they have something like that. If not, did you ever try going in the car? Do you have a car? Can you sit in, the back seat of a vehicle and make some sound there? Have you ever, do you have any friends or something where maybe they are gone for an afternoon and they're a close enough friend where you say, hey, I really just need a place to sing, and you go over to your friend's house and you can, make some sound there? Can you make dinner for your family where you say, I really need my singing time. Can y'all take a walk for an hour and I'll make you dinner when you come back, and then have that time? Can you commune with nature? I mean, the birds do it all the time. They're out there singing, And they aren't caring, you know, do I sound great? Am I on key? They're just in the trees singing, singing, singing. They want anybody to listen. Can you go off into nature where there's nobody and sing? Pandemic aside, I highly recommend that experience. Just get out there and get back to nature and make some sounds. I guess those are the things I can think of off the top of my head here, Joanna, about 4 of them there. Experiment with those because, like you say, clearly it's not working having other people around. So give those a try and hopefully they will shake you out of it. But please, if I can ask one thing of you, don't stop. Okay. This whole thing has been tough in various ways on everybody. I don't know one person that it hasn't been tough on in some way. But don't let it stop your singing. Sing through it. Just keep singing one way or the other, even if it's not pleasant, even if it's not your best, even if you're uncomfortable. You know, there's going to be better days and better singing days, but don't, you know, part of, you know, getting through life in a glorious fashion is doing the positive thing when it's hard, you know, and this goes for anything. It's easy to be good and do good and feel good when things are good, but when they're not good, do we still do it? Do we still do the good thing? Do we still, you know, do what's right, or do we still sing? It's harder. So I just encourage you to keep doing it. Okay. Whether it's people are around or you find one of those other strategies, keep going. Karina Chen, our friend, can you do a video on how to do recordings at home? Please recommend the best equipment so that we can record video and send to you. Can you teach a course on recording techniques and sound checks? Not me, Karina. We have a staff member or two that might be equipped to do that at some point. I go in the studio with my artists many times, but I'm not a recording studio person. I don't know the best mics and equipment. I have just a basic understanding of that. The voice is what I know. So unfortunately, Karina, I cannot do that. But we can explore that with our staff because I think that might be valuable for somebody who is a recording studio expert to come and talk to us about that. That's cool. Thank you for that suggestion. Thank you. I'll make a note of that. Rose, thank you for answering my question. It really helps me. Crying heart, and you're so handsome today. Oh, well, I'm glad it's just today. Okay, good. Colin Joseph. All right, okay now, Colin. What is the correct way for compression? This is good. I really want to work on this one with you. What is the correct way for compression? Now, compression comes down to two varieties of compression. And we can call these different things, but what we're going to call them is vertical compression, which is sort of the beef that is used in the voice. Okay. So, you know, this sound, let's see right here, is a different sound than, right? So one is, and one is, we're in different register. So the register of chest voice is the beefiest, and the register of falsetto is, you know, not very beefy. And then the mixed voices are giving us varieties of beef. And to our friend that asked about Myles Kennedy, what's so cool about him is this kind of stuff. Oh man, just barely using beef. How in the world does he do it? Compression master. So you asked me, does Myles Kennedy have good technique? Of course he does. Finding those variants of vertical phase, fantastic. So yes, we do have the ability to use full chest, falsetto, all kinds of things in between. That's your vertical phase. How do you master vertical phase? Have lots of different registers available to you. Chest dominant mix, 50-50 mix, head dominant mix, head voice, falsetto, flageolet, vocal fry, everything. Get your registers worked out. The more you've got, the better you are. Then there's also this business of adduction versus abduction. And that is the compression that is basically how closely or how far apart you put your vocal cords. And you can do abduction or adduction in any of the registers. I could have a breathy chest voice, very terrifying, or a clean chest voice. I could have a breathy falsetto, or I could have a clean falsetto. How do I do it? Adduction versus abduction. It's different than the verticality. It's the togetherness or apartness of the chords. So, Colin, you got to be a master of all the registers, and you've got to be a master of putting the chords more breathy or more clean in all of those different registers. If you can do that, you can do whatever you want. All right? Okay. Oh, from Joanna, thank you, Justin. Thank you. I needed that for inspiration. I have been practicing in my car, but this time of year, it gets really cold fast. Oh, man. You can't put the heat on? I mean, I know it wastes gas, but maybe just a little heat would just 10 minutes. Okay. Hi, yes, Lean Pisters, very good Dutch pronunciation. Awesome. I'm singing out the triads loud indeed. Good one. I'll explore more ear training. Okay, glad that helped you, Lean. Okay, the Laura Chase again. I had a strange feeling where it almost felt like my left vocal cord muscles were more sluggish than on the other side. It was a weird feeling. My voice doesn't sound different, but it just felt strange. Any idea? It resolved after a few hours. What was Laura's question again from before? What was the first one? Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, Laura. I don't know how that relates to your emotion question, but yeah, it doesn't relate. That's a separate question. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Laura. So separate question from Laura. Yeah, sometimes people favor one vocal cord or another, just like we favor one side of the body versus the other. This is not uncommon. Okay, so you can indeed favor one vocal cord. How do we solve it? Well, you have to make sure that you're watching a little bit in the mirror, Laura. If you notice your head is turning always to one side, for example, on a high note, then you're favoring, one vocal cord. So you're going to first go the other way and try singing the reverse, and then you're going to balance it out and come back to normal, and you're going to observe whether you're tilting your head. That's the sure sign that things are favoring one side or the other. Also watch for neck muscles. If one is going like, that sort of thing, same kind of deal. You go the other way. You can hold muscles down. You can hold things straight. Just making sure that everything is in balance. Very good. Okay. Another question from Joanna. Have you thought about creating more of a community? It's nice to see the same people in these live chats, but it could be even nicer to chat with them and share some experiences. Yeah, we're kind of thinking about something like that, Joanna. So, just send us a message, okay? Send us an email. We're looking into something. We're not sure yet. The cool thing about community is that it's community. The uncool thing about it is that it very quickly becomes rogue, and you can't control what people are saying, which you'd say, well, why would you want to control them, Justin? Well, because in the world of voice, the speed at which people start to say misleading and potentially frustrating and confusing and sometimes negative things is so fast that it is concerning. I know you all are lovely people, wouldn't do such a thing, but you'd just be surprised the second you just say, okay, anybody come on in, things start to break down. So we're looking at some ways where we can offer both worlds, where we're making sure that people are still getting really good stuff, but also be able to interact. Write to us, and we'll see what we can do. We'll keep you posted. Okay, now let's go to Vincent here. Vincent, the Prince. Karina first. Okay, Karina, then Vincent. Karina says, can you tell us how to do anchor and lean, please? I heard that anchor and lean are the ways to breathe into the sound, have a more supported voice. Just not sure how to achieve it. Just breathe deep. Well, Karina, I'll just give you my opinion. I don't think you should do it. Anchor and lean are concepts from the Estill method. And, God bless Joe Estill, one of our greatest. And if you haven't checked out our vocalpedagogy.com site, please check it out. This is a site where we intend to honor as many pedagogues from history as we possibly can and spread the word about who they were and what they did for us, what their contribution was, to really celebrate them. And you can bet we're going to celebrate Joe Estill because her work was pioneering and so awesome. That being said, the vocal world evolves and changes because we're always learning new things. And the problem with a still method is Joe can't come back to life and make changes. So these ideas of, grab a couple grapefruits and squeeze, and this is how you're going to have breath support. I don't know. I can't advise that, Karina. To me, that's just unneeded, superfluous tension. And the breathing process is so much simpler than that. I think what you basically need to do to breathe well is make sure your ribs and your abs can expand in a relaxed way. And then you're going to dole out that air in a small, steady way. You don't need to be, squeezing and anchoring and doing that stuff. So I just think it's simpler, and I can't personally advise adding all of that onto something that is that simple. So that's my answer. But I think those concepts come from Joe, and I wonder if Joe would amend that if she was still living. I don't know. Okay. Jiho. Okay, Jiho Kim, another friend of ours. Hey, Jiho. Great to be in our first spring chat. That's true. It's spring. A larynx question. When I get to my money notes, I think you guys did see that money note episode. Keeping my larynx neutral becomes very difficult, especially when sustaining long high notes. The larynx rises uncontrollably above F sharp 4. I have to use a good amount of strength to fight this rise of the larynx. Do you see any problems with physically lowering my larynx? I'm asking because I've always been training to release my extrinsic muscles so that my larynx never rises, which is a more natural but indirect solution. But actively lowering the larynx offers more immediate results. I apologize for the long question, and thank you as always in advance. And I always go back to Sing Like Never Before for any vocal solutions, even though I finished the book a long time ago. Well, thanks, Jiho. It was a long question, but it's going to have a simple answer. Yes, Jiho, you can actively lower your larynx. And yes, you can use extrinsic muscles to do it. Because, frankly, there are only extrinsic muscles that lower your larynx. There's the sternohyoid, sternothyroid, and omohyoids. Those are your only larynx muscles, and notice where they are. They're here and here. If you want to feel them, here's what I'm going to have you do. Press right here. Everybody can try this. Press right here and yawn. And you're going to feel an engagement right there. Now press way over here. The same thing, yawn. And you're going to feel an engagement. So sternothyroid, sternohyoids, omohyoids, they're all extrinsic muscles. So Jiho, if you want to lower your larynx, you got to use them. And will it be natural? No, it's not going to be natural. You have to make it happen, right? If you're belting this F sharp, and we have like, may. Okay, whoa, and I have to, may. I have to think about, that's all the way down. May. I have to put it down there. And then I can, experiment. I can find which one is the right tool for the job, and probably it's one of the ones in the middle. But I'm obviously thinking about that so that I can put it in the right position for the task. Okay? So yes to actively doing it. Yes to thinking about it. Okay, now Vincent the Prince. When I'm in my high belt around a D5, I find it impossible to not be super bright. How do other singers get away with darkening their sound in the high chest and belt? And yes, I think Vincent is, female. Correct me if I'm wrong with that. So that will make a big difference, by the way. A female will be able to darken that more than a male will. But actually, Vincent, what's so cool is what I just gave to Jiho is the exact same thing that I would give to you. You need to be able to find larynx position control up on your higher notes. And D5 for a female is not so high that you don't still have some control there. For a male belting a D5, the larynx is up. It's up. But a female belting a D5, you could get some neutrality there, maybe even a little depth. So what I'd have you do, Vincent, is really try for some dark vowels and some deep sounding sounds. So that's like a vowel or O vowel. Put a beautiful compression consonant like a B or a G right in front of that. And then you've got, go, 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 or bo, 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 bo. And you got to take that all the way up. That D5, bo, 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 bo. And for you, you're going to belt through that. And hopefully the larynx gives you a little darkness. Okay. Also watch out for spreading. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but if you're looking for a darker sound, Vincent, you're going to need this shape more than this shape, and it will help to, take out some of those tweeters. Larynx control, embouchure, keep the belt. It'll make a difference. Okay. Wild Gardens LLC. David Wild. Awesome. Suggestions for a beginner to avoid vocal strain. Absolutely. Well, David, you can go back and watch a few of the episodes. There's a 2-part episode on singing for beginners. I believe it's episodes 98 and 99. All about beginners. And then also our most recent episode, Singing That Feels Good, which is all about getting rid of tension, whether you're a beginner or not. And actually, I think there's an episode in the 80s called How to Not Strain Your Voice or Your Soul. You can go back and look at that. So just giving you some resources there. But again, with this, we need to pinpoint what is the source, okay? Because strain from a beginner, I don't know, maybe what is this strain? Because strain, are they tensing in their breathing system? Are they locking? Are they locking particularly the solar plexus, right? Are they shoving things down to force the air out? That could cause strain. And if they are, we need to stay more open, more buoyant. Is it strain in the extrinsic muscles? Are they using a lot of, neck tension or, jaw and tongue tension? In those situations, David, we have to either massage or kind of move things around or do some stretches. Is it the larynx? Larynx is always coming up because they haven't learned any of that larynx control that I was showing. We're probably going to have to do more low larynx work to get it down. Is it the vocal cords themselves? Are they pinching everything? We're going to need more head voice and breathier sounds to antagonize some of that. So, it could even be in the face. Sometimes people are sounding great, but looking like this, right? So we can learn to relax and things like that. Is it psychological? Do they think every sound that comes out of my mouth is horrible and, I can't deal with it? And then there's some ways that we can get them to make silly sounds and break out of their comfort zone. So I hope those are some ideas for you, but look back on those resources and try, especially David, to pinpoint the source. That's always going to be the fastest way to get results. All right. Musicals 81, our friend. Hello, Justin. I read a study about basketball players, neat, where one group got to practice as usual, and another group did not practice at all. There's a third group that got to practice only by visualizing. At the end of the experiment, the group that practiced by visualizing were as good as the first group. The second group did not practice at all, didn't get any better. Do you think that could apply to singing also? When visualizing, should you still do movements with your mouth and body, or do you think you should just think about doing it? Okay, that's a cool study. I haven't read that study. What I do know is that the mind is an incredibly powerful thing and is capable of far more than we even know. And so I know they're doing a lot of research right now on the voice and the brain. And I'm sure there's going to be studies coming out that confirm some of these things that we can really only guess about and test and experiment with. I don't think we can prove right now that if you think versus practice and think, which is better or worse. But what I'm going to say to you here, Musicals 81, is it's clear that meditating on any task in a positive way will have a positive result. It is obviously no substitute for doing the actual practice, so please don't stop practicing. But I think encouraging yourself or your students or whoever it may be to have as a part of their routine a positive meditation or some sort of visualization is a wonderful tool. Okay, so, meditation comes in many forms. Sometimes you can just meditate to, clear your mind, not think of anything. But there's also the kind of meditation where we meditate on, maybe it's a quote, or maybe it's a positive mantra about what we want to achieve. Or in this case, maybe it's like I'm going to really concentrate for 5 minutes, 10 minutes on what it feels like to really sing the high note in the perfect way. Feels free, feels easy. I'm right on pitch. Everything that I've ever learned is there for me. I don't have to stress. And keeping the mind going in that direction, I have no doubt that that's going to work. Okay. It, again, needs to be in harmony with the other thing. But by all means, please try that. Please practice that. And as they're doing more research on the brain, I'm sure there's going to be more specific exercises that come out. But don't sleep on that brain stuff, because it's really there's something to that. So I think you're onto something. Keep going. All right, what do we have next? Oh, Rosa, I just found out about Inhalare La Voce. Can you explain it? I'm still confused. Inhalare La Voce is the inhale of the voice. And it's one of these sort of funny vocal terms that are historic. There's lots of them. But the idea is sort of a drinking in or an inhaling sensation while singing. And obviously we're exhaling when we sing. We're not inhaling. But the experience of inhaling while exhaling, think about what that might cause. One thing is that it would cause you to not push, because if we're blowing out hard, you're pushing. But you have a feeling of inhaling, you're holding back, the air is moving in and not out. It's more of a visualization. Then also there's a resonance component. When our resonance is being done really effectively, a lot of times we have this experience of the sound moving up and back or up and over, in, not out. And so that's another element to it, the resonance aspect of sort of feeling things resounding back, almost as though you're inhaling and the sound is coming this way and not that way. So it's not specific. It's a description of a feeling, but it's a description of a feeling that is the feeling of really good breath support and really good resonance. All right. Lean pisters, but is it really that there should be no extrinsic muscles ever involved? Is this totally the same for everyone? Well, no. I mean, we need the extrinsic muscles. I think what we're talking about when we say don't involve the extrinsics is don't involve them in a dramatic or bullying or tense way. I mean, you need to have them to move the larynx up and down, and some of them are jaw and tongue muscles and things. So you need to use them. But what happens, Lean, is some people get sort of locked in one of them or use one of those muscles very aggressively. And they use that to stabilize their voice or stabilize their larynx. And when you're using a muscle in that way, you don't have that freedom of movement. So I guess we're not saying don't use them. We're saying don't use them dramatically or dominantly at the expense of the rest of our technique. Yeah? Okay, Lucas Olivero D'Antonio. Hey, Justin, I'm still noticing a reduction in my vocal range on flageolet and head voice. For example, sometimes I go up to C#7 in flageolet. Really? Whoa, geez. And now it's around G6 or A6. Still pretty amazing. In head voice, it would hit around D#6. Now that's C6. And it seems the stamina of my voice is a little worse. I don't think something's changed in my daily habits, but before this, my throat was very inflamed. And maybe I forced my voice a little bit when singing. But if apparently nothing was wrong on the laryngoscopy, how can this be happening? Do you recommend an exercise to recover those notes or rest for some time, perhaps another exam? Well, that's really tough, Lucas, without having heard you. Rest might be a good strategy. I'm down with you resting for a while. I guess I'm curious because that's awfully high. If something different was going on when you hit those notes. I wonder, you say your throat was inflamed. It was inflamed after you had the high notes. You had all these high notes and then it was inflamed and then you no longer can. I'm going to ask you that question and then we're going to come back to you. Okay. while we do that, we're going to talk to Bruno Espinoza. Hey, Bruno. Hey, Justin, I had tough days trying to record my first TikTok video. I wanted to act, do faces while singing. I rehearsed for many days. And the song is challenging. Finally, I kept with one take, but sometimes it got discouraging. Self-criticism, the timbric comparison with the original singer, little mistakes and corrections with the pitch technique, and etc. I was doubting to upload the video, but I did. Do you have any advice on perfectionism and singing in social media? Thank you. Yeah, okay, we can talk about this. I mean, it happens to everybody, first of all, Bruno. So you're not alone. And anybody that says, oh, it's so easy for me, I just put it out there and I don't care, probably lying. Okay. I don't really know a lot of people like that. I know a lot of people like you and like me, that when they put themselves out there, they put their voice out there, it's a terrifying experience. Okay. And, you know, I don't make any pretensions about it. When I make my videos and stuff like that, you know, maybe it looks easy. It's not. Okay. I'm a stress case. I'm off camera saying I'm no good. What are they going to say? I just did that. Oh, that was awful. They're going to say he's a voice teacher. He missed that note. There's a voice teacher. He sings like that. I'm off camera stressing. So I feel your pain. It's everybody, myself included. Okay. You put your voice out there. You're putting your soul out there. That's the problem. That's also the solution. You put your voice out there, you put your soul out there. So you put your soul out there. That's so positive. You gave, you shared, you had something for us, and it's a gift. If I give a good gift to somebody, theoretically, it doesn't matter how well they receive it. I could give a gift to one person, they say, I don't want that. I could give a gift to another person, they say, whoa, thank you. I loved it. I still gave the gift. And it's the giving of the gift that you ultimately need to focus on. So just to use myself as that example, when I'm there and I'm stressing and, oh my God, what are they going to say? I have to come back to, well, it doesn't matter what they say. Somebody out there is going to want this vocal tip. Somebody out there is going to think this sounds good. Somebody's going to be blessed by it. Somebody's going to be helped by it because I'm putting my soul out there. Whether you like it or not, I'm putting my soul out there. And when you put your soul out there, that's always a good thing. When you have a message, you have something good to share, something beautiful to share, share it. Not everybody's going to like it. But you shared it. You gave the gift. And there's the freedom. You focus on giving the gift, sharing, and you're always cut free. You focus on what will they say, what will they think, what will it get me, what will it do to me? You're always going to be in chains. And again, that's me too. I'm not preaching here. I'm sharing from experience. So Bruno, in giving your voice and you're giving your soul away, discern between what's it going to do, or what are they going to think, and what can I say, what can I give, what can I share? And the more you're in that frame of mind, you're in a creative place, you're in an artistic place, you're in a generous place, and you just can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with that. Hope that helps. Okay. Sasha G, hey, great to see you again. I have a question about the difference between false chord distortion and vocal fry distortion. Sometimes when I try the false chord distortion, like in the yeah exercise, it feels similar to the vocal fry. Can you please elaborate on the difference between the two? Shouldn't, Sasha, it shouldn't feel the same. I bet you're doing it right. Because if it's vocal fry distortion, I mean, yeah. I mean, you have to back off the volume so much to get that to happen. that the chances of that being vocal fry are very low. If you're really if you're doing putting something into it and not loud, just enough to make a clear sound, it's almost definitely going to be your false chord distortion. So let that be your rule, Sasha. Vocal fry distortion is not, it's not loud, it's not pulmonary. Okay. False chord distortion, I'm not saying it's very loud, but it's loud enough to get that vibration of your true chords going, and then we insert a little grit on top of it. So let that be sort of your benchmark, is how much breath pressure and volume am I using? If it's enough to make a clear sound and you're distorting, probably it's the false chord distortion and you're doing it right. All right. Okay, now we've got Lucas. Okay, back to Lucas. I was hitting the high notes, then my voice went inflamed, and I noticed those issues. But before I got inflamed, I was feeling like maybe something wasn't 100%. Yeah, so I guess, Lucas, it must have been something in that time where you were inflamed and swollen, and maybe you were pushing on it, working too hard, and then things just got a little bit sluggish. I guess I would prescribe to you a little bit of rest. Maybe you could take 3-4 days with good rest, no singing, lots of hydration, and then maybe take about 2 or 3 weeks of really gentle singing, lots of falsetto, lots of SOVT kinds of things, trills, fricatives, nasals, and see if you can just get yourself back to a really healthy baseline voice. Nothing extreme, no crazy high notes, no crazy belts, just the basics. See if you can find a basic, good, clear, healthy voice. And then after some time, give it a try with the extremes, see if that's gonna get you back there. Without having heard you, that's about all I can guess at. So I hope that works. Okay, last 3. We're almost there. Karina, does the Inhalare La Voce apply more to classical singing than pop singing because of the placement? Seems like the sound is not forward. Well, it comes from classical, but I think it can and should apply as much to pop singing as any other kind of singing. Remember that bringing the sound forward is not actual. Just like Inhalare La Voce is not actual. Okay, there is no forward and there is no inhale the voice. These are just sensations that people feel. And good technique, period, across the board, all styles, involves holding back the air, not letting it go blasting, and resonance that goes up this way. Okay, all styles. So I would say, therefore, Inhalare La Voce could be great for any singer. But what about the forward thing? Classical people sometimes talk about bringing it into the mask and bringing it here. So that's not necessarily a pop versus classical sensation. That's just another sensation that is not actual. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just not actual. It's something that some singers feel and describe, others don't. And so we have to just make sure that we are on the same page when we're describing something. And Danny V, follow-up question to that one. How would you teach Inhalare La Voce to someone who has poor kinesthesia? I wouldn't. Here's how I teach the physical relationship with the sound. I create environments, sonic environments, that are customized for my students that basically sort of force them to make the right sound, whether they thought to or not. I invent it so that they definitely do it. And once they do it, I say, hey, that was it. How great was that? What did you feel? And then whatever they tell me is right. And they say all sorts of things. You know, I felt it here. I felt it here. I felt it here. I felt it here. It felt like flying. It felt like walking off a cliff. It felt like balancing a bowling ball on a toothpick. You know, all sorts of things. And whatever they say is right. I believe it's a bit of a mistake as a voice teacher to say, here's where you should feel it. Because everybody's different. Everybody feels things differently. So I would not tell a singer to bring the sound forward. And I would not tell them to feel the Inhalare La Voce. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying I wouldn't use them. I would convince the student to make the right sound and then ask them what they feel. And what they feel is always right because it's their body and their experience. And the last question is from Debbie Abbott. Hi, Justin. When you sing up higher in your range, should your sound be more forward? Oh, boy. Well, we've had a real good treatment of this, haven't we? Nah. No. Yes. Forward. And by the way, if you want a full treatment on forward placement singing, there's episode 91 of our show. You can watch that. Forward, again, is vague. It doesn't mean anything actual. If it were to mean something actual, we could define forward as emphasizing brighter vocal formants, bringing out higher frequencies in the harmonics. That's how we could define the word forward. The singer brings out higher harmonics, higher formant frequencies. How do you bring out higher formant frequencies? Well, you can spread your lips. You can elevate your tongue. You can elevate your larynx. You can use greater compression and volume. Those are some ways to bring out higher harmonics. Do you need to do any of those things to sing high notes? No. So do some people use some of those things to sing high notes? Yes. So you don't have to do that and you don't have to feel that, but some people do. So it isn't necessarily a strategy or something that we should say, here's how to hit the high notes, bring the sound forward. But some people will have that experience, and the people that do, it's very valid. And if it works, go with it. But just know of the complexities that exist so that you don't pigeonhole people in one direction or the other. All right, so I hope that's a full enough look at a topic that can get really vast. And thanks for doing the videos. Thanks for sharing your soul. I'm glad to do it. I love you. Thank you. Love you guys too. That's it for today. I want to thank you for joining and for your support. It's always great to be with you on our monthly chat. We'll be back together in the month of April. Lots of good things to look forward to on the show. Brendan is doing his Simpsons series, breaking down the different Simpsons characters. And we have got some Voice Lessons Online stuff coming out. We're going to look at the great Kurt Elling. If you don't know this singer, you need to know this singer. He is absolutely unbelievable. We're going to be looking at all the great things that he does. And we've got some seriously exciting stuff coming up with the great David Phelps. I won't give it away, but just trust me, we've got some seriously exciting stuff coming up with the great David Phelps soon. More voice lessons to the world, more quick singing tips. So please stay tuned for that. I bow to you. As I was saying to somebody just Joanna, I think keep singing through this. Okay. We're coming out the other side. So keep on singing. I appreciate y'all. And we'll see you next month on a Sunday. Bye for now.